Hey, you guys, we are back once again with another recap. We got to talk about these wedding nights, the first morning, the friends and family meeting, and the honeymoons. Welcome back to Romance Review TV. It's Lady T. I got another recap for you guys. Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode number 4, Honeymoon Hiccups. And without any further ado, let's talk about this episode. So finally, after 3 weeks of episodes, the weddings are now out of the way and the couples get to enjoy their first night together and get to know each other better through little conversations. And of course, this whole episode is filled with ups and downs, and so we gotta break it all down. So while we got a sneak peek at Chris and Nicole's first night together last week episode, the rest of the pairs prepare for their evening as they spend as husband and wives. Now, with Shaquille and Kirsten settling in, he tells her how she took his breath away at the altar and how they're both looking forward to making the match work. Now, things get a little awkward though when he asks her for a kiss and she shuts him down once again. So you know I like to keep you guys updated with anything that I find out. And this was posted on Facebook allegedly by one of her bridesmaids that a kiss actually happened. And she accused production of really throwing the fans off. I posted it on my Instagram. So if you guys follow me on Instagram and my reels, you would have seen it. But I don't know what to believe. What do you guys think? And you know how I feel about production. However, we see as they turn in, Shaquille admits that he's not expecting anything from the evening regarding sex. And honestly, if it's true that she's not kissing him, if you're not going to get a kiss, I don't think you're going to get sex either, Shaquille. So then there's Dominique and McKinley. Now they discuss their different sleeping habits as she inquires whether he snores or not. And that could be a deal breaker for some people. Now while McKinley denies the possibility, he admits that he's been known to talk in his sleep from time to time. Okay. Dominique in turn admits to her new husband that she's guilty of tossing and turning at times, forewarning him before we even go to sleep. And despite these little quirks, the two of them seem to be getting along at this moment pretty good. Next up, let's talk about Jasmine and Eris. Now, they feel a spark between the two of them, and she is a little nervous to be vulnerable, but there's no pressure on the night as Eris is tired and is more interested in getting some much-needed shut-eye. They closed out the night and decided to just call it one, but we did get to see some cuddles between the two. And then closing out the wedding nights with Gina and Clint, who admit that their fears about the day was absolutely pointless as everything exceeded expectations positively. And just like Jasmine and Eris, for the moment, they seem to have a very early attraction to one another, especially when it came to Clint, because he was more than excited to get it on if she was open to it. I mean, he took off his shirt, he lay back in that bed as if he was just ready to absorb everything that came his way if, of course, Gina was open to it. So now we have our first mornings together as the couples wake up, they enjoy room service breakfast, and then they get to discuss the impending family and friends meetups and what that's going to look like. Now, while everyone kind of wake up happy, it is also the moment of truth that any of these couples have sex. And this season, the pairs are just playing the long game as no one partook in wedding night delight. So then we got to see Gina and Clint discuss their morning routines as they got to discover that they're both morning people, which is a great thing to know, but it runs a little deeper than that when Gina admits that she hasn't really given up much control in her life and that she's trying to embrace it. Kirsten and Shaq, on the other hand, they decide to talk about teeth. Obviously, Shaq is a fan of teeth, and they discuss hygiene, like brushing your teeth and taking showers. Now, he is adamant that he cannot go without being clean. Kirsten admits that she brushes her teeth most of the time, but not every night. And I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue for Shaq. Now, with Dominique and McKinley, they discuss their passions, and she's hoping that he's willing to embrace the country life that she enjoys so much. You think she can turn him into a country boy? I don't know about that, Dominique. Now, my favorite couple, Chris and Nicole, talk about being late or on time, and that's a pet peeve of mine. You got to be on time. I have to be respectful of other people's time, so hopefully you be respectful of mine. So I can understand that conversation between these two. However, we can't forget that she has a bit of a problem sticking to event start time, so she's hopeful that she can get some help from her new husband. And then rounding out the excitement is Jasmine and Eris, who discuss their impending family meetings. Now, he might not have so much of an issue, but the one that's going to have an issue is Jasmine because, of course, his cousin Fallina is going to be there. And we know Fallina is not taking this thing seriously at all. So she's going to have some mountains to climb when it comes to Miss Fallina as she strikes again. So the families and friends let the grilling begin of the new spouses, and Kirsten is the first to sit down with Shaq's friend and uncle, and she tells them how great she feels about the match based on her conversations with Shaq the night before. Okay, Kirsten. Meanwhile, as for her husband Shaq, he gets grilled once again, first at the wedding and then again now by her family, who is highly suspicious of his outlook after he repeatedly says things fell in his lap when it came to the process. So, yeah, they don't know if he just signed up because they kept recruiting him or if he was actually being genuine. Then we got another grilling by Dominique's family, and they question if McKinley has ever dated anybody outside of his race as they try to prepare him for this new life with Dominique. It seems as if, according to his answers, he has dated outside of his race, but obviously it's a big concern for her parents, of course. However, what did he put on his application? Because, of course, they matched him with maybe what he put down or didn't put down. And then there's McKinley's mom, the same mom that wanted to pay him $50,000 not to sign up on this show. That was mentioned on the after party last week. McKinley's mom thinks that marriage is nuts, especially this type, and she definitely didn't hold back from telling Dominique. And when she asked her new daughter-in-law about the prospect of McKinley moving back home to Michigan, she's understandably reluctant, but not unresponsive about it. It's time for Gina and Clint. When Gina meets Clint's friend, she knows how his personality attracts her. And when Clint is grilled by Gina's brother and sister-in-law, he promises to address any issues that they face with good communication and will work to merge their differing worlds, which includes a busy work life for her. Meanwhile, with Chris and Nicole, Chris once again faces scrutiny from Nicole's dad, who notes that talk is cheap and actions speak louder than words, and he's still bringing up that whole serial killer thing, suggesting that no matter what Chris says, it won't be good enough until he proves himself. And then, in turn, Nicole meets Chris's family, who tells her about his big heart and his nurturing ways, which tips her off to know that Chris can be kind to a fault, and it's going to be up to her to be a protector for him. Eris got to meet Jasmine's family, who teases him about being an only child and warns that marriage, you know what, is not going to be easy, but pretty much they're relatively accepting about him. More so than it comes to Eris's cousin, Fallina, who is still really suspicious of Jasmine, talking about her answers are too quick, too easy, and it sounds like pageant. answers. And they did ask Fallina what she felt about Jasmine, and check out her response.
This is so funny because you said white. It's just like truly unbelievable. It's like crazy.
Hopefully, if both Eris and Jasmine work out, Fallina can come to terms finally with their marriage, but I don't see that happening. So following the meetups, Shaq first gets candid with Kirsten, telling her about his family. Always think he's doing good, but they can never see him at home alone, where he gets lonely and feels like he's missing out. Now, Kirsten says she can relate and appreciates the fact of her husband's transparency. And then there's Jasmine, as she reports back to Eris about her most recent encounter with his cousin Fallina, admitting it was rough. Yes, it was. But she says she's going to do her best to keep her head up high, as if she can predict what's going to come next. Jasmine then leaves to go get her hair done, put some braids in for the honeymoon, which is unveiled in baskets outside of the couple's doors. So they get the baskets. The trip is set for Jamaica, which excites most, except for Shaquille, who deflates a little bit of air out of the excitement as he tells Kirsten that they're going to have to delay their trip due to his school presentation.
And I have a research conference this weekend, so I have to present my research. So we are not going to the honeymoon home tomorrow. I have to travel to Jackson, Mississippi. So you will be traveling to Jackson, Mississippi to actually come to class with me. Yeah.
I'm already making major sacrifices right now. Been missing the beach. You talking about you want to be by some water.
I didn't want to leave you out. Like, I really wanted you to see me in my element.
I will. And then when do we leave?
We're going to leave from there and go straight there.
Are you serious right now? Like, we can't go to our honeymoon. We have to go to the research presentation first, while all the other couples are in Jamaica, having the time of their lives, drinking their Bob Marley, and I'm going to be sitting in this hotel waiting on him to finish his presentation. Unbelievable.
Well, needless to say, she is highly disappointed. But at least it wasn't like Zach and Michaela from season 13, where they had to be separated due to COVID. So they spent their honeymoon for the first week or so separated. So at least you get to go to Mississippi with him. So it's the next day and all of the couples are packed and ready to go. They all notice that, of course, Kirsten and Shaq is not there, but they are obviously aware that he had that whole thing going on in Mississippi. But everything, I didn't know what to expect on the bus ride because, from previous season, bus rides don't go that well. But everybody seemed to be gelling. They depart and arrive at Jamaica. They ring in their new honeymoon kickoff with a toast at the resort entrance. And then, of course, the couple scatter to survey their rooms. Now, while they take in all of the amenities and views and luxurious beds, we see Chris and Nicole take a moment to get serious while sharing sad stories about their past relationships. Now, the moment only served to strengthen their bond while they relish in the idea of commitment that they made to each other. This is my favorite couple. Meanwhile, Queen Jasmine decides to feed King Eris grapes in the bathtub. And finally, Kirsten is extremely frustrated on her honeymoon is on hold. Question is, will she and Shaquille even make it to Jamaica in enough time to even enjoy the experience? Hopefully they will, but we got to stay tuned next week to see how it all unfolds. Okay, so let's get the conversation started down in the comment section. What do you think about our couple so far? I mean, I did see the previews. I know you guys did too. There are some future hiccups on the way. But for the most part, Chris and Nicole are my favorite couple. And I mean, I was hoping for the best for a few of the other ones, but I don't know. And I think those previews kind of threw me off. So let me know your thoughts. So I hope you enjoyed this recap. Make sure you stay tuned for other recaps on this channel. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Bye.